Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Only 20%. How are you today? Let me do a mic check because I'm using my mic, my earpiece right now. So let me do a mic check for you all. Make sure you guys can hear me. I'm right here, guys. Let me see if you guys can hear me. Guys, let me see if you guys can hear me. Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. How are you all doing today? Hello, Kiona, and hi, Angela. Yes, can hear you fine. I didn't even see your message. Thank you. Incognito, Grand Rising, Tracy, Grand Rising, Incognito. How is everyone doing? I hope you are safe and well. I hope you are mentally safe, right? And I'll be back on later. I do have some readings to do because I have some readings to catch up on because you are not allowed to go on vacation in this world. So I do have some readings to catch up on, but I'll be on later, and we'll do some sort of conversation about Quiet on the Set, I think, and Ariana Grande and Wicked. All right. Also, I saw where we found the sweater that Kate is wearing in her I Have Cancer video. We found the sweater in a mental health video with William and Harry. So, still questioning the authenticity of this video because we found the same sweater and pretty much the same background because it was nice and green. So it looks like it was a long sweater. So I'm wondering if it was early fall, you know? No, it must have been early spring but it must have still had a bit of a chill to it. So it must have been around mid-April, but still had a little chill in the air because she was wearing a sweater. I forget what the other two were wearing. But in any case, we found the sweater in the I Have Cancer video. So I'm still back at DOA, but who am I? I'm only a psychic. It's a little cuckoo crazy. All right. Hi, Marsha. Good morning. Hi, Malika with the red heart. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Creative Soul. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, Miss Shiva, Grand Rising, Miss Tracy, and everyone. And I just want to make sure I did say hello to Incognito. Okay, good, good, good. All right, Miss Naturally Norlands. Good morning. Hi, everyone. Yes. Hey, Rhonda, where are you? Sweets Carmel. Good morning. Yes, yes. Okay. Um, just doing a quick check-in, making sure everyone is in a good mental health state because the did anybody enjoy the eclipse yet? When's the eclipse? Was it yesterday or today? It was a lunar eclipse. I don't even know what time it occurred. There's been so many eclipses for me in the past few weeks. I was like, I do not need to see a real eclipse. Was it yesterday or was it supposed to be today? Anybody knows? Let me check. Let me check. Lunar eclipse. I think it's lunar. I'm actually not sure. March. I have not been keeping up. Eclipse season, March 25th. Oh, it's today. What time? Is it tonight? Well, lunar usually means at night, doesn't it? Well, guys, this is a lunar eclipse, so what do you want? What can you call in? The eclipse is in Aries, so it's a fiery eclipse. So look up the positive side of this eclipse. Try not to invest in fighting unless you have a case that you need to fight for. So let me just check something else out, because Google, I love Google, but sometimes you just want some real simple information, and people like to give articles, which is fine, because nobody reads anymore. I know I don't. But it just comes down to the point where I just don't want to know. Let me see what Molly says.
Our first eclipse of 2024 occurs on March 25th at 5 degrees of Libra. This is a Libra lunar eclipse with the moon in Libra and the sun in Aries, both making a favorable connection to Pluto in Aquarius. So this is going to be a big time of emotional transformational growth. This is where you could not only in yourself, but in your connections. This is where you could also both making a favorable connection to Pluto in Aquarius. So this is going to be a big time of emotional transformational growth. This is where you could unearth some things that you are ready to see, acknowledge, and understand, not only in yourself, but in your connections. This is where you can also see a pathway forward around what to do, how to approach it. A readiness for change is very present here with this particular Libra lunar eclipse. It also means that there are relationships, partnerships, and connections that are ready to grow with you, that are ready to move into this next level, whatever that means for you. It's also interesting to look at the fact that Pluto is in Aquarius, right? Aquarius is the next air sign after Libra. So there's a progression here for air sign energies.
Mm-hmm.
The lunar eclipse is in Libra, making a lovely trine to Pluto in Aquarius, which wants you to take something out into the world, which wants you to see it in a more empowering perspective that actually supports you, that helps you, that gives you a clearer understanding, clearer thoughts. This could even be a willingness to improve your communications, something that you're ready to activate that is right on time for change. So that's a really positive signature here in this particular lunar eclipse energy. Now, the ruler of this eclipse is Venus, and she is conjunct Saturn in Pisces. So that brings in a seriousness, that brings in perhaps a hesitation, that can even bring in some self-doubt. Am I ready? Can I handle this? Is this good for me? Is this what I really want? And Saturn is typically a weight, especially when it's conjunct the loving, soft energy of Pisces and Venus. So there could be something that you're heavily contemplating, like it's on your heart, there's something that you're like just sitting with and you want to be very intentional and very conscious, and that's very important with Saturn. So when you really can look at your intention here and what it is you want to change and you want to evolve, and you see it from the bigger picture of perhaps this would be good for us. Right. Because Libra is an us sign. It's us. It's both of us. It's when you're working one-on-one with somebody. So that could be the case in clients, in business partnerships. So, is this good for us? And then, of course, in your personal relationships as well, whether that is with a spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, whomever, there's something here where you're understanding, is this good for us? Is this going to go forward? Or is this something that I really need to take a good hard look at and understand that maybe it's not a direction that I can grow forward with? So there is a seriousness with that Venus conjunct Saturn. I just feel too like there's a bigger push towards something that is right for you. And in the air signs, it's about communicating that in a way that the other person can hear, can understand. Of course, you could be on the receiving end. There could be some big conversations or some things that, you're seeing in a new light, in a new way from people outside of you. So as we move through the energy of this first eclipse, there is definitely transformational energies that want to take you forward into new territory, into new potentials. And it could actually be something that you have to unearth. You have to unearth something that you're seeing is not working. It's not working, so let's change it. Let's get on the same page. Let's figure it out. Let's resolve it. Let's talk it through. And then we can move it forward.
Oh, how pretty was that?
Welcome to Intuitive Astrology.
That's Molly McCord, and she is one of my favorite people, mostly because of the sound of her voice. I love the sound of her voice, but I also love the really good advice that she gives on the astrological changes. So today, Angela says tomorrow. No, tomorrow at 3 a.m. or was it today at 3 a.m.? Because I thought it occurred on the 20th. Oh, today's the 24th. Oh, it's tomorrow. Oh, yes. So we're going to read the book, but I want to know what you guys are going to prepare to do on the lunar eclipse event today, right? And so I think the key word that I got out of here was communication, talking. What are your talking points that you need to change, that maybe you need to that you desire to change? What are your points in the forms of communication? What are your desires? What are your wishes? And then write it down. I desire, and then write that down. Okay? I know for me personally, I desire, and I might, now that I'm talking to you, I might focus on what I'm about to tell you. I desire to be much more aesthetically communicative in my podcasts. Thank you, Angela. Thank you. I misinterpreted what you were trying to say. Thank you. Because I got the date wrong. Thank you. I desire to grow exponentially in my podcast, spiritually, psychically, ethically. I desire to embrace more than I've ever known. I desire to psychically explode, let the information come to me so I can get it out to you all. That's my desire. And I think I'm going to write that down and use better terminology and words to convey what it is that I'm looking for. What do I want to communicate? How do I want to communicate? And that might go for all of you, every single one of you, right? Figure out a way that maybe your communication skills needs to be enhanced, because this is the eclipse that could do it, right? Because if you're enhancing your communication skills, then you're embracing partnerships or groups or togetherness or people being on the same mind. There's nothing better when you and your partner or you and your team are on the same accord. So ask for it. Ask to have it put inside of you. Ask to live and breathe a better communicative person. And then don't judge it afterwards. Don't look for it. Let it seep inside of you like drinking of water. All right. Well, that was nice. I'm going to change positions, which I knew I was going to change positions. I don't know who I was kidding. I do like this. Oh, I brought a new computer, guys. And so now I can leave one computer in one place and my iPad in another place. And I don't have to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and screw things up and forget things. So now I'm going to just set up the right stations. The only other thing I need is a chair. I know that sounds silly to you, but I actually take my chair and move it from place to place. I'm just going to set myself up better is what I'm trying to say, I think. Now that I have a computer and making payments on it, which is what I wanted. I wanted to make payments on it. So that worked out to my advantage. And I got it while I was in New York City, so that was good. All right, are we ready? We wasted some time here. Oh, I need my coffee. Damn it. Can't do anything without that damn coffee. Coffee. One of the kids that I was with this weekend, Brian's age bracket from the show, he was so cute. He goes, Tracy, how do you say coffee? And of course I had to say it like a New Yorker. Coffee. It's like 3 F's and 10,000 E's. Coffee. Uh-oh, what happened? Oh, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate this. Solar and lunar eclipses worldwide. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. When I finish this, I will study timeanddate.com. That's where I'm getting this from. Thank you. All right. Let's get this party started. We're on page 46. And let's see what medium we are talking with today. Through his mediumship. Oh, I need a highlighter. Damn it. You can never settle in. This is why I'm going to have 2 separate stations now. Good. Now we're going to have 2 separate stations. And I won't be running back and forth trying to figure things out, where things are. Okay. Just need a highlighter because something comes up when I'm reading and I don't want to stop it, or I want to remember it for later when I close the book. Through his mediumship, Joseph Calloway has prevented physical accidents, costly production delays, and has assisted fellow crew members in solving personal problems on the set. Spirit has been working with me to open doors, he says. Spirit friends, guides, and teachers come to him through the law of attraction, guiding his spiritual development and his creativity. Sometimes in creative ways, such as script writing, self-lighting, and conceiving camera movement. Spiritual knowledge has spontaneously been imparted to him. Joseph is a director, freelance director of photography in the Hollywood film community. We're always in California. That's so weird. I keep questioning that. His first job was with Lady Sings the Blues. I didn't understand it until late, but I know I wouldn't have received the opportunity to work on a film if Spirit had not intervened directly on my behalf. My great uncle, who was Billie Holiday's publicist, and the lady herself were both influencing forces. Joseph had worked around the country on projects such as Pee Wee's Playhouse, The Five Heartbeats. He recently co-produced The Gifted, a science fiction theater about the supernatural. I looked that up. Let me highlight that. There was a strong influence from Spirit. He notes of a pilot series, Worlds Beyond is the name of the pilot series, where he worked on in the fall of 1986. His an experience he considers unique to his film career. Working out of Little Dale, New York, he was an executive producer and director of 5 30-minute videos on spiritualism, including mediumship and healing, sponsored, here we go again, by the National Association of Spiritualist Churches. He tells of exceptional mediums who greatly contributed to the film's smooth production flow. Problems tend to dissipate as quickly as they arose, and as usually, harmony thrived amongst the entire crew, both spiritualists and non-spiritualists. Joseph received a message through a medium which said, "You will be lucky for those with whom you come in contact." He has been instrumental in assisting several aspiring directors to launch their film careers. Since he was 16 years old, Joseph has attended the National Association of Spiritualist Churches, of which he is now a member, a certified medium, and a former board member of the California State Spiritualist Association, a certified clairsentient with psychometric abilities. He lectures, he teaches, and has read billets at church service nationally. Although a mental medium, Joseph experienced physical mediumship phenomenon during his high school years. A photography and art major, he often developed his own film at night. While developing several prints from the same negative, he discovered spirit-like faces, unidentified but distinct. These individuals have been nowhere in visible range when he took the picture and did not even appear on the negative. Joseph says of his mediumship, God works for man. Through man, God works for man through man. We give back to God by what we give our fellow man. I attempt to give the highest and best so I may receive the infinite and the highest best. I like that. Let me see. Let me highlight that. God works for man through man. We give back to God by what we give our fellow man. I attempt to give out the highest and best so that I may receive the infinite and highest best. Do you all have that same philosophy? It's a very simple philosophy. That if I give, and giving comes in many forms, everyone, right? I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about the day that you're annoyed, but somebody comes to you and needs to talk to you, and you're like, oh, I can't do this today. I just can't do this today. But you do it anyways. You give anyways, because you never know. Oh, I lost my bell, what that person needs from you. Bell. I lost my one bell, but that's because I didn't put it back where it belonged. Oh, man. It's not going to work without the bell. I need the damn bell. Bell, show yourself. Where are you? Damn it. Damn it. I thought that I put the bell on top of my bookshelf here, because I know I did. I did, I promise you. And now there is no bell here. But I want to know why. Where are you, Bell? All right. God damn it. Such a nice touch, the bell. All right. I need the bell. Oh, let me put in the drawer. Nope. Anyway, I have got to clean out this makeup drawer, and I'm at the point where I'm ready to throw out all my makeup. I'm not 20 years old anymore, and I don't need all of that stuff that makes you pretty. I just want the basics now. Bell, 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 here you go. Thank you, Bell. Thank you for showing yourself. Okay, back to the book. See what everyone is saying. Hi, Stacy. Well, when we say it like that, Stacy, not to correct you, but I do want to help you. When you say you reap what you sow, doesn't that have kind of a negative connotation when you think about it? But I do like that you added, I try to sow well. Yes, yes. Grand Rising, Mother of Brats. Oh, I spoke before in a previous vid. I typed cartography, but what I meant was astrocartography. Oh, astrocartography. That sounds nice. Angela, what was alluding to before is I believe that astrocartography has something to do with why Cali is more conducive to nurturing one's. What? What? No way. That is so interesting. Because now I didn't want to say it out loud, but now I was wondering, right, why I wound up in California, you know? And I was like, is there a connection for me too? Hmm. I'll check that out, Angela. Astrocartography. Hmm. So fascinating. I mean, there are pivotal parts of California that draws in energy. Ironically, I have never been to those pivotal parts. The reason why I've never been to those pivotal parts is because I don't like spending money. And I don't understand why I have to spend money to go to the land to feel the energy. And so I never went because I don't like people being commercial with God's good energy. But I do have a regret that I never got there. So maybe one day I'll take a retreat there. All right. Absolutely. Thank you. All right, let's see now. Al Benson was a good medium, as there was anywhere, remembers psychic advisor Alvin Locke. He was a real trance medium. It worked with him from 1962 through 1967. If he told me that door would fly open at 10 p.m., you could bet it would do that. He was just that much in tune. Now deceased, Benson, whose real name was Arthur B. Leaner, was once a top Chicago disc jockey known as the Old Swing Master. He was active as a medium in Chicago during the 1950s and 60s. Angela says, I too ended up in Cali for 31 years, originally from North Carolina. Being in Cali helped me to become more metaphysical. Well, I have to tell you, it was there that I get it. I get it, Angela. I get it. What put you there, Angela? What put you to Cali? Because I like the happenstance of it all. And then why did you leave? Let me know here. Next story. A medium and a healer, Coleman Hill, was bishop of a spiritual church in Bakersfield, where? California. Into 1940s and 1950s. Bishop Hill could stop storms. Ooh, I love that. Ooh, I love that. Calm rivers that were overflowing, recalls Arizona psychic Frank Gibson. He knew my name and told me what I had been through before I ever talked to him. Impressed with Hill's clairvoyance, his mediumship abilities in diagnosing and healing, and his psychic rapport with animals, Gibson became his student in the early 1950s. You know, if there's a storm coming, right? You know, you may not stop the power of the storm that is on its way to you, but you can certainly stop the storm from investing and destroying your property. You can will the storm away from you. You can will the flood away from you. When I was here, the electricity went. And to my surprise, nobody had electricity. So weird. And to my surprise, my stove had electricity. No other part of the house, just the stove. No, it was the stove, something, or maybe I have an electrical outlet here by the stove. And so my neighbor said, hey, Tracy, do you have electricity? I was like, yeah, I do. And he goes, what? And I didn't want to tell him. I'm like, well, yeah, I have electricity because I asked for it, right? But I didn't want to tell him that, right? Actually, nobody knows what I do for a living around here. And so he's like, oh my God, can I please charge my phone? I'm like, sure, give me your phone. Plugged it in for a few hours. And that was one time. And another time, all the electricity was out except the stove, no other outlets. And so I was able to cook when nobody else could. So funny. But not surprising with me. My expectation is to always be taken care of spiritually. This is kind of like, what did we say? You reap what you sow. I try to sow well, Stacy. It's kind of like if you always put out there and then you need that favor, they come to your aid. But I've also learned to not be crazy and to keep tuna fish in my house. At the very least, I can always eat some tuna fish and crackers. All right, moving on. But you all can do this too. So start practicing it. Oh, you know what else you got to start practicing? I was in New York City. Where was I? We got parking. Oh, I was with my cousins in New York City, right? And she was just complaining, you got me running all over New York City, blah, 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 blah. And then we were supposed to go back to the hotel. And then the other kids decided that they wanted to go to this restaurant. I said, oh my God. And so I didn't say no, right? I was like, yeah, let's go to this restaurant because I don't have a voice in any of this, right? And so I said to my cousins, we're going to go to this particular restaurant. On the block of the restaurant, cars were jam-packed parked. My cousin finds parking. And I was like, again, there goes God. Of course, I didn't say that to my cousins. I was like, oh, well, got a parking spot, so let's do this. But I knew the parking spot was Grace. The deity, Grace. Just saving it. And you know what I see sometimes, guys? Of course, I'm talking to myself at this point because it's a little cuckoo crazy. Sometimes I see spirit being the very thing like a car. So sometimes I see spirit being a car. And that's how all the cars didn't see the parking spot. And then when we got there, spirit opened up the space. Does that make sense to you guys? All right. Yes, I always ask and thank parking lot angels. Angels all over that mall. I never suffer for a parking space ever in a day. There was another space. So there was that time. It's another time. And the parking was just available. Where was I? I feel like it was in New York City, but I can't remember now. Okay. So I like the part where they say Bishop Hill could stop storms and calm rivers that were overflowing. I love that. That's my jam. Oh wait, Angela says, let me see, something else. All right, Angela says, I married my son's father. Oh, that's you explaining now. His work took him to Cali, so we packed up and moved to Cali. I was really hard making connections with people in Cali and terribly homesick. We're back in North Carolina been back in North. Oh, you just came back. My dad's from North Carolina, Angela. Now my dad, he was born and raised in New York City, but my dad's mother is from North Carolina. Fuquay, North Carolina is a little town that if you drive more than 10 miles, you run past the town. But let me see, they put it together with another town because it was so damn small. Let's see. And it's from my dad's side that we have traced our history since the beginning of slavery. Fuquay Varina, North Carolina. They have now combined the two little towns, Fuquay Varina, in the southern Wake County of North Carolina, lying south of Holly Springs. Mm-hmm. And it has, both towns has all of 36,000 people in it, so you know that is small. Well, Fuquay has a museum. Oh, I feel like I need to get there one day. I feel like I need to get back there. Never been there. Oh, they do have a Comfort Inn in Fuquay. Okay, a hotel. I feel like I need to get there one day. All right. Is Fuquay a good place to live? Money Creek Rakes Fruit Crave Arena. It's the safest small town in North Carolina. Oh, look at that. What is Fruit Crave known for? Let's take a look at that. Aptly named for its proximity to RDU International Airport, the area is home to hundreds of thousands of square feet of retail, restaurants, breweries, and an array of family fun. All right. All right, interesting. Very, very interesting. Fuquay, North Carolina. Yeah, we need to get there. All right. It's cute though. Very cute. All right. You've driven through Fuquay Arena? No way, Angela. What a connection. What connected souls. That's so funny. I love it. Look at that. Look at God. It's funny how Zoom can bring people together, huh? All right. Next up, Sally Wales. Sally Wales was already reading when she and Clarence Cobb, didn't we talk about Clarence before? A Chicago psychic and spiritualist, decided to study together around 1935. She sought to expand the potentials of her gift. My mother was always psychic, says her daughter, Odessa Payne. She got her messages from spirit. She would look at people and read them from spirit. At times, she used cards. Born in Point Peter, Georgia, Wales' religious upbringing was in the Baptist church. Later, she changed over to where? The Spiritualist Church in Chicago. About 1937, she set up her own storefront, Spiritualist Church, and delivered messages. On the effects of having had a gifted and well-known mother, Payne remarks, my mother never probed into my life. She gave me suggestions. She was a very happy person. She made people quite happy. She would talk with them and help them. That's interesting. Did I tell you guys that I would never step into a church again? But I'm going back on my word, and I do have an interest in stepping into a spiritualist church. That I'm going to figure out how that can be. Not just any church. It kind of has to be a spiritualist church. It's a mandate of mine. Kind of has to be on the lines of spiritualism, not just a church. I have to figure out what churches are around here. I don't want a faux church. I want a spiritualist church. So I'll figure it out. If not, if somebody has spiritual church services online, I would invest that way too. I don't need to be anywhere in person. Just want to check it out. Is anyone on the feed? Let me know if they've ever attended a spiritualist church. Y'all let me know. And let me know who has knowledge of this, that they would have any Zoom services as well. Just want to hear the word from the spiritual side of things. What a nice Sunday today. All right. And Angela, you would have had trouble making connections with people in Cali. I think what I'm discovering from this book is that California is very, very spiritual. And in the same token, the element of Hollywood doesn't allow real authenticity coming from people. So there's that. And depending upon who you're talking with, everyone has a level of inauthenticity in Cali. So, and if you're sensitive, then you would, of course, be very, very sensitive to that energy that they're protruding, I would think. And so you can't make friends because half the time the people in Cali don't know who they are, right? We have the immigrants that's constantly hiding so they can never reveal their true selves, right? To be honest with you, they don't discover a sound soul, right? Until they find a way to get legalized, right? You get many, many transplants. Most transplants are looking for Hollywood. And those that are not looking for Hollywood, there's still a superficial thing that goes on with the others. There's just something so, I feel like people are not connecting with their souls in Cali. So I think I keep being surprised that all these spiritualists are from California, but I get it that there must be some astral thing going on that generates that energy. And so many of us could get drawn there and does get to the land for whatever reason. I'm a big fan of having walked past something, having walked on the land of something. So I do believe I had to go to California, but I also believe that when it was done, it was done. That I got what I needed from California. I do not have everything that I need, but California could no longer provide for me what I wanted. And I think we both left at pretty much the same time. And I think the beginning of COVID was the beginning of the end for my stay in California. And I wasn't going to fight to stay there. Like, that didn't make sense to me. So, yeah. All right. Next story. While leaving it, oh, Jesus Christ. Let me see something, by the way. Very interesting book here. I think I get it now. Let's show you something very similar. Okay. My friend Jason designed the cover of my book, right? And that squiggly line underneath Gratitude Journal, I kept saying I recognize that squiggly line. But he created the cover, and then he was like, he didn't create the cover. He designed the words around it. The AI picture is from someone in my group, Sabrina Jones. She created that AI for me. Oh, by the way, I gotta tell her I got my computer now, so I can start. Oh, I'm so happy. I totally forgot why I was buying a computer. I was buying a computer so I could play with AI, because you can't really play with AI on iPad. I guess you can, but I can't. Okay. In any case, the squiggly line in the book, and I don't know what it's called, so forgive me. There's something very similar here, very, very similar, just shortened. And so I kept looking at the squiggly line, and I was like, why do I know that? That's so weird. I know this. And now I just put the connections and the dot together. Okay, we are done here. Hold on. Hold on, guys. Things that make you go, hmm. Things make make you go, hmm. All right. Use that one. All right. While living in Shaker community of Water Villette, New York, Rebecca, that must be upstate New York. I do not know that name. Rebecca Jackson received news of spirit rappings. Do you guys ever get spirit rappings? I get that. The spirit rappings. I don't like it, but I get it. My neighbor driving me crazy, Miss Daisy. Her car knocks at her all the time. She answers it. It's so funny. Alright. Okay. The phenomenon which signals the start of American spiritualism. Her impression of the event and her personal experiences with mediumship appeared in Gifts of Power, edited by Jean Humens. In the year 1850, March 15, a pamphlet was put into my hand, which gave an account of the spirits visiting the inhabitants of the West with strange knockings, and of their communications to people through the alphabet by which they had been able to make known to the people that God has sent them to help the inhabitants of the world. While giving attention to these things, I had a clear view of God's dealing with me from July in the year 1830 to the year 1850. I was greatly astonished at his mercy to a worm of a dust like me. Through the aid of departed spirits, I've been able to tell many things before they took place. For all these years, I've been under the intuition of invisible spirits who communicate to me from day to day the will of God concerning me, concerning various events that have taken place, and those transpiring now, and those that yet will occur in the earth. But this communication to me has been in words as clear and as distinct as though a person was conversing with me. By this means, I have been able to tell people's thoughts and to tell them words that they have spoken many miles distant from me, and also to tell them things that they would do a year beforehand when they had no thought of ever doing such a thing. After participating in a seance on August 1st, 1954, Jackson determined to form a circle at home. With her close companions, Rebecca Perot, she sat intent upon contact with evolved spirits. I felt the foundation must be laid in strength and in power in order for me to work under God for the good of souls. Therefore, I decided higher spirits and those of any natural kindred, for it was the latter that I was called to help. Soon known to Jackson was that Pyrrha's attention was fixed upon a lower vibrational level. I asked her if she felt any gifted or desire. Hold on. I asked her if she felt any gift to desire any spirit. She replied, my mother. Then I told her how needful it was for us to have higher spirits at the commencement, to give us right knowledge of so great a work. She agreed with me. At one seance, in deep distress, the spirit of Jackson's deceased husband, Samuel, entered. A prayer offered on his behalf immediately brought spirit world assistance to him through her brother, Joseph Cox, also deceased. When my brother came running to help him into liberty, it overcame him, for he well remembered the deep sorrow, shame, and tribulation of the soul he had caused my brother to feel by his cruel prosecution of me. And he supposed he would be the last one to come to his aid. But instead of that, he, with me, was the first. He out of the body, and I in the body. He soon learned that it requires mediums out of the body and mediums in the body to help souls into the way of salvation. He saw many souls with me waiting to help, that I was ready to lead him to a place in the spirit world where he could be taught the work of progression. Interesting. Oh, hold on, guys. Angela Williams says, yes, when I tried to make friends in Cali, they were always suspicious of my motives to do so. Yeah, I can see that. I think gifted people are strange, right? We're a little weird. And we think we're hiding the weirdness, Angela. But the more we try to act normal amongst the masses, the more weird we look, you know? And so, because we look weird to them, they realize they don't want to be with us, you know? And so that's why I've learned to be alone, right? And not invest in wanting friends, and that I wait patiently for the right communication of friends. But in the same token, Angela, I trust no one as well. I distrust everyone's motives. And I believe that is the one thing, as a single woman in this world, it is the one thing that has kept me safe, because I don't trust anyone. But at the same time, I move about the country in full trust. So it's a weird thing. Like, oh, sweetie, I move about the country in my show. I move about the country in full trust. But if I'm talking with someone, I'm sizing them up. I'm like, who are you? And I give people the freedom to be themselves. That's the good part that I love about myself. I don't have time to change anyone. I give them the freedom to be themselves. Yeah. But it has kind of kept me distant from others because of my own personal distrust, as much as people don't always trust me. And it's okay, because when people don't trust me, they leave me. And if they don't trust me, there's a part of them that is afraid I'm going to see something, which I will. They're right. They just don't know they're right. They don't even know how to articulate what their problems are with me, but I know what their problems are with me. And it's okay. It's completely okay. Because the right people will find each other. And so what I have found is that I find better camaraderie with my online people because my online people are seeking like minded people. And I think that's the beautiful part. All right. Oh, you didn't consider that? That maybe you come off weird to them? Oh, hell yes. Girl, yes. The energy is too vibrant. No, they're not accustomed to your energy. People are like, what is that? What what is she's weird. I've literally been called weird, by the way. When I was 10, I was called weird. When I was 25, I was called weird. I was called weird the other day. But yeah, consider that they're uncomfortable with you because you come across weird to them. And that's okay. Just don't conform to the others because they are, without a doubt, not ready to deal with soul's growth, right? No one's ready to deal with their soul's growth. And there's nothing better than dealing with your soul's growth. I love that. I love growing my soul. But sometimes, because I'm the weird one, I got to grow it alone. And that's okay too. I've begun to realize I just like my company. And I'm okay, right? Not the end of the world. But at least you have a soulmate that you've been able to connect to, Angela. That is a gift as well. That's nice. Oh boy. All right. Let me just see something. Kind of tired here. I need my nail clipper, but I don't think I had it. Did I have it? Make sure I don't have it in here, but I don't. All right. Whatever. You don't know much about me. You don't know much about me. All right. Let me change earpieces. I need to keep a nail clip on my keys. Is anybody like me that keep losing their nail clips? Oh, look at Creative Soul. I've been called weird. I live in California. Oh my God, that's so funny, Creative Soul. What part of California do you live in, sweetie? Oops. What part of California do you live in? What? All right. Hold on a second. I'm here, guys. Sorry. Okay. Los Angeles, Creative Soul. Where? I was in I can't remember things now. Baldwin Hills Basin, La Brea and Obama. All right. Mother Estelle Ellery often hears beings crying for help and sees them walking between the earth, feeling their anguish. She prays for and with these earthbound souls. In many shapes and energy densities, they appear to her as light, vapors, energy, patterns, materialize heads and hands, and in the projected bodies of their former life identities, they come. Spirits of the living, temporarily detached from their bodies. Spirits of the living, listen to this. Hold on, I gotta highlight this. Temporarily detached from their bodies and meet with her as well. I like that. Close to Hollywood. Oh, girl. Congested over there, child. There are temperature and vibratory changes in the room where disembodied spirits are speaking to and through her. These changes are sensed by her son, Clarence, and other observers. Both psychics and non psychics. Visual phenomena are seen around her, flashing lights. I get that. Electrical streaks in non physical human like forms. An evangelist, Mother Ellaby, founded the Miracle Chapel Deliverance Church in New York City, where she lived for many years. Now she holds prayer meetings in her home in East Orange, New Jersey, and is frequently a guest speaker at church conventions. At the close of one church service, a woman from France came forward, a visitor to the United States. She had been referred to the church by a friend. Having a message conveyed to her by Mother Ellaby was strengthening, the woman said. As a result, she knew she could face the crisis she was in. The message from Spirit that day had been spoken in French, a language totally unfamiliar to Mother Ellaby. I like that. So I was traveling, talking about energies that come in the form. Let's see, what does it say here? Comes in the form as lights or vapor energy patterns. Um, I was two things. I was on the plane, and I normally don't sit by the window, right? But just my luck, every flight I was by a window, and I hated that. I normally don't sit by the window. Let me see if I can see the first. And I didn't catch it. And on the plane, I saw clouds making a transformation, like in a form of a downward arrow, without the arrow being there, going into the sea. All the other clouds were up and flat, but this one made a curve downward. I thought that was kind of weird. And I tried to take a picture of it, but I couldn't get a picture of it well. Um, and the other thing, I went back to the hotel where I no longer work. And as I was sitting there, this smoke came by. And of course, it was like a defined smoke. It wasn't like smoke was happening at a station of barbecue, and then by the time it got to me, it was like a dust of wind. This was defined smoke. And so I saw it and I started to say to my boss, do you see that? And I decided I wasn't interested in her. And she's very gifted as well, but I just wasn't interested in her or anyone else saying that I was crazy. So I just decided to be like, all right, spirit, I see you. I don't know why you're here, but I see you. Oh, I thought it was finished here. Oh, I thought it was. Yeah. Okay. All right, we're almost done here. Let's see. Let's just get through this. 57 is a long one, but that's okay. Long one. All right, let's take a look. Arriving from a party around 4 o'clock in the morning, Jesse James Jr. had an urge to make breakfast. While the bacon was cooking, I decided to lay down and take a short nap, and of course, the bacon burned. In the meantime, the house had been filled with smoke. I had an entity who came in, warning, shook the bed for me. When I awakened, the whole bed was shaken. There was no one in the room but me. That proved to me that there are those around us who watch out for us. Some may call them guardian angels, and some may call them spirit guides. I just know I have a bunch. They really look after me. Jesse was newly into spiritualism when this happened. His spirit rescuer, Dr. Joe Davis, became his first guide. They met through the dream state. His Indian guide, Tomahawk, came 1 year later. I felt I needed to change my life, and it just came about. I happened to go to a spiritualist church and enjoyed the service. The minister opened the doors for me. I stayed with the church for a couple of years. Then I went on to another church and studied with a development class for 1 month. And my psychic ability just opened. Basically, I'm a clairvoyant speaker, and a healer. I am a medium more than a psychic. I do psychometry, bullet readings, a lot of counseling and fairs in churches. A licensed minister in the National Association of Spiritual Churches, he has been in the work for almost a quarter of a century. In his hometown, Gary, Indiana, he is the president of a spiritualist church. He teaches classes in mediumship development, metaphysics, psychic unfoldment, and co-directs weekly seances at the church. An inspirational speaker lecturing for civic groups and at universities, Jesse was one of the first African Americans to lecture and give readings at Camp Chesterfield, located in Indiana. It is one of the oldest spiritualist camps in the United States. To be of service, he explained, as his purpose in life. To me, service is the greatest religion. There is no religion greater than service. I like that. Anybody know that? Service is a religion. That's hot. There's no religion greater than service. I believe that should be the path of everybody. I believe that should be the path of everybody. Jesse has had experiences with physical manifestations by spirit. I've had aborts. I was in a beauty salon where I worked when 3 kernels of corn were aborted to me. 5 women were present in the room. We were just talking when the Indian corn just dropped right in front of me. I knew what it was. I was so. All right, I'm gonna get done. A flow of teachings from Spirit Road Masters are communicating through her in accordance to seasons. Rose Anderson was an independent spiritualist, is a teaching medium. Although frequently in and out of trance during class, she never allows herself to be completely taken over, nor does she leave her students undirected, observes longtime student Rayona Rand. In the Oriental season, the group benefits from the teachings of a spirit who is an Asian master. And during the healing period, an entity who is a healing teacher works with them. Intensive meditation exercise is part of the class project. After the weekly meeting, students return to class in astral body twice a week at 10 p.m. to continue their instructions. Only a few saw the visitor, but at one season, the entire class heard the bells and felt the energy radiating from his presence. Rayona recalls it was an angel who had arrived to assist the group. After he had studied with Anderson for some time, Joseph Calloway astral traveled to a West Coast church while his physical self was in Chicago. A member of the West Coast church told of having seen him. He advised her on a serious matter within the church organization. Joseph claims his ability resulted from his meditation exercises. One Lenten season, Anderson directed the group back to the time when Jesus made his entrance into Jerusalem, guiding the class in expectation into being a part of Jerusalem crowd. She led them to experience the city's dust and feel the vibrational waves of emotion there. Despite his varying level of awareness, the whole class time traveled with her, perceiving sound, color, smile, and sensation. Anderson, a retired school teacher, began her spiritual teaching process under the tutelage of Clarence Cobb. In addition to conducting spiritual unfoldment classes, lecturing, and giving workshops at the secondary schools and universities. She is a civil service administrative assistant in Chicago. I love how everybody's kind of normal, but special at the same time. I love that. Where's my bell? Surveying the national resources of Britain by psychic impressions, Ivan St. John placed his hands on a map at locations names of his friend Peter. I went on and said, whatever comes to mind. To me, it was not the most interesting kind of thing to be doing. At some point, I dozed off, bored. I woke up, I sort of jumped and said, I'm sorry. I dozed off. Peter said, this is the good stuff. Why didn't you tell me you were in a trance medium? Spread on a table were voluptuous notes Peter had taken while Ivan slept. My first reaction was that he was joking. Soon I became very serious. One of the reasons I had had such a reaction is that up to that time I regarded mediums for the most part as a little strange, rather hokey, to tell you the truth. When I did lectures occasionally or talked to people about my psychic abilities before this, I've always said it was strange ESP. I had nothing to do with the spirits. I used pure psychicism and none of that stuff. I looked at Peter's notes and thought, this is all interesting. I wonder what's up. And what's he up to? I didn't think I could have been asleep long enough for him to write notes. There were answers to some of the questions he was concerned about, and there seemed to be some information about lost civilization. I thought, this is really strange, even if this is the 1960s in San Francisco. Enthusiastic about the trance information, Peter convinced Ivan to have another session in a few days. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't believe very much of what was happening. I closed my eyes, sat, and sat. I opened my eyes and said, this is stupid. Maybe this will help you feel more comfortable. Maybe you're just self-conscious, said Peter as he blindfolded Ivan. I found myself going into the slow breathing. Sorry, guys. And I nodded off again. And I woke up. I thought, this is silly. This is terrific, said Peter. He had more notes on Britain's natural resources and on lost civilizations. Intent upon putting an end to Peter's game, Ivan talked him into doing another session the same evening, one where they would record on tape. I woke up, took off the blindfold, looked at the tape. A lot of it was used. A deeper toned version of his own voice was heard. You aren't kidding, Peter said. This is new, isn't it? It seems like I was listening and repeating these things. Someone was telling me, explains Ivan. I kept saying, they're showing me such and such. Then it says he wants to introduce himself. In the trance, I described this person talking to me. The lost civilization of Atlantis was amongst the topics which the etheric world entity discussed with Ivan. I had a complete mixture of emotions. I was intrigued. I was turned off. It scared me. I wanted to hear more. I had a complete mixture of emotions. I was intrigued. I was very turned off. It scared me. I wanted to hear more. It seemed so cornball at the time. Something claiming to be somebody out there or possibly another part of me that was talking. It took me years personally to come to the conclusion that it was another personality, not a secondary personality. Following this experience, Ivan began a series of sittings. A small seance group formed. The personality of the etheric world teacher, Tony, grew more distinctive. It took me a while to come to the conclusion that this was a discarnate. I began questioning what was coming through. One of the things I had to learn was that whomever it was, it seemed to have worked to do, and that my role was that of a medium. I didn't have to like everything that came through. One of the things I had to learn when people get angry with Tony, which happens, they are angry with Tony, not me. I will not let people take it out on me, nor do I resent them. I will explain what I think he means since I have some idea of what he has been saying over the years. The teacher and I went through probably everything people go through in any relationship. In the early days, he would many times say, I can't get this through because the medium is consciously blocking me, or the medium is consciously coloring the information. That means lying. Or the medium is biased against this particular topic or information. Over a period of time, he gave information about himself. He never negotiates terms of the work. The contact Ivan made with Tony covers 25 years. There was a time Ivan felt overburdened by their work. He absorbed all of this. He complained to the entity. In response, the entity said, have you ever thought about this fact? Whenever you book a reading, lecture, or class, I show up, and you have not consulted with me once. It made me look at how I was dealing with other people, how I was taking other people for granted. Hold on a second. A great deal of teaching is done in the trance work. Occasionally, some healing meditation is done. The trance work has brought about the end of some physical conditions, but I wouldn't say I'm a healer. Healing is when the incidental things which happen. If that's irony. So, though trance, we have done psychic photography, a case of projecting images on film that was in sealed documents. We have all had the years of documentation of that. Occasionally, in a trance, I did what is called sealed letter reading, where people write things on paper, seal it, and without opening it, I would psychometricize it. I would do that as a sort of warm up before I did the trance work. I stopped doing that years ago. Classes and workshops based on Tony's teachings have been given by Ivan. Some people have attended these events for the past 18 years in teaching this channel being emphasized. He's not saying anything new. The teachings are old. He's putting them into new terms. He doesn't make himself infallible. He makes it very clear that he doesn't know everything, which is a shock to some people. Somehow people get in this idea when you get someone on the pipeline like they know everything. Out of the seance group rose a natural policy on how to regard the entity's communication. If the information seems to have some validity, let's deal with it. It was a growth thing for everyone. I felt that a very important thing to do is check the information. I tell people who come to meetings, this is my belief. You don't have to believe it. I'm going to start using that. I have worked more intensely than ever since the arrival of Tony, simply because I've been put in a position to learn a great deal about myself through his teachings. He's taught me to work hard and dedicate my life. I don't think I've had such fun or laughed as much, but on the other hand, he's taught me that you can be a spiritual person without being sour grapes, because I thought if you got into one of these things, you didn't have fun and you were just religious. Yeah, that's why I laugh all the time, child. I see the comedy in everything because people are hella funny. By the way, I'm laying down now, but I shouldn't lay down. I'm going to be in trouble in a minute. He had taught me that no matter what your spiritual path is, you're not going to be exempt from daily problems. It doesn't surprise me if I get ill, or if something breaks in the house, or someone rips off something. It doesn't have anything to do with my spiritual interior status. What Tony has taught me is how to gear my reactions to those things. The conscientious process of dealing with, confronting, and interacting with oneself is growing. Ivan grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, traveled, spent 3 years in New York City developing survival skills before he moved to San Francisco in 1966. He was the owner of a metaphysical bookstore. That's what I want to do. I was a natural psychic before I became a medium, but that was mostly premonitions, either conscious or in a dream state. Occasionally, most premonitions, either conscious or in a dream state. Occasionally, I would just perceive things about people. Sometimes I would say things without thinking. It would be something that amused someone or gave spontaneous insight into a person. people would either react in a positive way or react in a negative way, depending on the information. As far back as I can remember, it was just one of those things. I can't think of any first time when it happened. It was very natural, gradually. It was brought to my attention that most children didn't do that. Sometimes we would go somewhere and my mother would say, if you see anything, keep your mouth shut. It's a difficult period a few years after he became a medium. Ivan was home one day feeling hopeless. The effect of being financially and emotionally drained engulfed him. He was unable to reach to his friends to help since his temperament had alienated them. Oh, I know that, because, yeah, that happens. I began to have this feeling someone was watching and looking at me. I turned, there he was. I thought, well, you've done it. You've snapped. Do you recognize me? A familiar voice asked in the bright afternoon sun. Tony, the entity, appeared as solid as an embodied person. Immediately, Ivan sprouted off his frustrations. They talked about their work and the barriers between them, and ended by the affirmations their agreement to work together. Asking his teachers blessings. He puts his hand on my head, and I felt like I was going to die. It seemed like volts and volts of electricity went through my body. I could feel his hand, and gradually I could feel it fade. When I opened my eyes, he was gone. I just started crying and laughing and dancing around all at the same time. And I sat there and thought, well, I guess I'll just have to get to work all night. All right, guys, that ended a little odd, but it is what it is. We're starting chapter 3, I think. Yes, aesthetics, and seekers next week. All right, everyone. Thank you. I'm so sleepy, and I've got to go to work in 10 minutes because I didn't think to give myself a break. So I'm just going to shut my eyes for 10 minutes, everyone. And I love you so much, and thank you for putting up with me. Bye. Thank you, sweetie. I'll get 10 minutes of sleep real quick. I'm so tired.
Gals and guys.